Hello everyone. In this video, we will be discussing about Module 4 Introduction. So, Module 4 we will be discussing three important topics, that is present, future and annual worth. And along with this, even we'll be discussing about rate of returns. So, in this video, we'll be discussing about the basic present worth comparisons and the present worth equivalence. So, these two topics we'll be discussing in this video. Before moving to this particular topic, we should be knowing generally what do you mean by this present worth. Example, if I'm planning to buy a mechanical machine now for the present rate, the present cost will be approximately 5 lakhs and that machine will be working for the next 5 to 10 years. And after 10 years, what will be the cost of the particular machine, because the machine is already worked for 5 years and even it have some maintenance problem and some repair kind of things. So what is the selling price after 5 years? So that selling price value, if I want to calculate for the today's date, so that particular money or the particular calculation we will be calling it as the present worth of the future product or future any kind of assets which I am planning to sell. So the introduction, if you see, a future amount of the money converted to its equivalent value now has a present worth value. I think now you would have understood very clearly what I explained till now. And this present worth value is always less than that of the actual future cash flow. It means after 5 years, the machine the machine will be selling for, say for example, 5 lakhs rupees. Means if I calculate for the present rate, of course I need to consider the economic condition, the inflation and all other things. Always the rate will be lesser than the future value. And for any interest greater than 0, all the present and future factors have a value less than 1.0. This is the one important note we need to remember while solving the problems also. So for this reason, present worth values are often referred to as discounted cash flows. In short form, it is DCF. We need to remember it very well, as when I speak about the present worth, it is always a DCF, that is the discounted cash flows. Similarly, the interest rate may be referred to as the discount rate. And besides present worth, the equivalent terms frequently used are present value and the net present value. Even we should be very careful, because in some textbooks, instead of PW, they will go with either PV, that is present value, or with the net present value, NPV. And what are the formulating alternatives? We know that the alternatives are already developed from the project proposals to accomplish the stated purpose. Some projects are economically and technologically viable, and others are not. So once the viable projects are defined, it is possible to formulate the alternatives. So to discuss about these particular concepts, we should take some examples which is existing, and even estimating the future, the life, its selling price and all those things. It is possible to calculate what is the present worth. And the alternatives usually we can classify it into two types. First one is mutually exclusive or independent, and second one is it depends. Sorry, the first one is mutually exclusive and second one is independent. And we know that each type is evaluated differently. So the two types of economic proposals here we will be discussing in detail. So first one is mutually exclusive alternatives. In short form, I can call it as ME. So here only one can be selected and it can be compete against each other. Say for example, if I am talking about any one particular asset, it may be a house, it may be a land, or it may be any particular like a product, maybe gold or machine. I can able to compare it only with the other similar product. If I want to compare the house value, means I can able to compare with the another house which is located in the same area. Or if I want to compare my assets, for example any gold or diamond, means I can able to compare it only with a similar kind of metals only. So that is why it is called as a mutually exclusive, and it can be competed against only the relative applications. And the second type, if you see, that is independent projects. Here more than one can be selected and it can be competed only against DNM. So what is this more than one can be selected? For example, these particular cases, if I want to speak about a land value. Land value means I can able to compare the land value after 5 years or 10 years or 15 years with the like some other places which have maybe the comparatively higher values or the lower values. So such kind of comparisons also can be done, and it is not compulsory only the land example we need to take. Even we can take any company or any college or any institution related to this particular outcomes. We can able to take an example. And when we speak about the type of cash flows, we have two types, that is revenue and cash. We are very familiar with these words revenue and cost, but nobody can able to define it properly. But here we can able to define it. Revenues are some things where the alternatives included estimates of the cost, that is the cash outflows, and the revenues, that is the cash inflows. So revenues is nothing but always whatever the profit or the income whatever we are getting, that is nothing but our revenue. And what is cost? So here the alternatives includes only the cost. It means whatever the investment we are making, or whatever the deposit we are making, or whatever the money we are giving. So all those things will be included as the cash outflow, that is the cost. And the revenues and the savings assume equal for all alternatives. So that is why it is also called as the service alternatives. And here in this particular flow chart, we can able to understand very clearly. So the different types of proposals, and whether it is a mutually exclusive or the independent project. You can able to see this. When if it is a mutually exclusive, we need to select in only one. It has the alternatives starting from 1 to M until DN it is there. But we need to select any one only. But in case of the independent project, we can select all the alternatives or all the projects, whatever is listed here. It may be a land, it may be a shares, or it may be some assets, whatever the thing. Together also I can able to compare it. And you can able to see this either of these things. Usually we will be considering. Usually when we speak about the present worth calculation, that is why it is mentioned either of this. Either it is a mutually exclusive alternatives or like independent projects. And when we speak about types of cash flow estimates, under the mutually exclusive, we have revenues and cost, where the revenue alternatives plays a major role. But in case of the independent projects, where the cost only plays a major role. So that is why it is cost alternative. And altogether, both mutually exclusive and the independent project, finally we have to evaluate the performance, and even we need to select which one is best suited for our case. And this present worth analysis of the alternatives, where we will be converting all cash flows to the present worth using MARR, and the proceed cost by the minus sign and the receipts by the plus sign. In the sense, like whenever the cash we are depositing or the investing means, that should be substituted as the minus, and whatever the income or the benefits, the profit, whatever we are getting, that should be considered as the plus sign, that is the positive. And for the mutually exclusive alternatives, we need to select the one with numerically largest present value always. And for the independent project, select all with the present value greater than 0. So with this, the basic, the present worth like related informations is getting covered. And while solving the problems, still more types we can able to discuss. So with this, I'll be winding up this particular video. Thank you.